Hi, this is Chris Ferdinandi for GoMakeThings.com, and we are all done with our Invisible Ink project, building an expand and collapse widget for ditching jQuery. There's one last thing I want to do, and I do this at the end of every project, and that's go through and clean up and reorganize all of our code. As you're trying to put one of these scripts together, things are going to get a little messy, and it's useful to go through, make sure that all your documentation is really tight, that all of your code is set up in a nice, logical, easy to read order, and just kind of clean everything up. So let me walk you through how I do that, just so you can kind of see it in action. So the markup is pretty straightforward. I don't really need to touch anything there. But in our scripts, I really like to follow a particular structure where I have my methods up at the top of the page, and I'm actually going to put a label up there for them. And then all of my my stuff that runs my inits and event listeners, I put down at the bottom. So in this case, there's a label for it, and now we're going to run our feature test. And add that class on init, and then here are our event listeners. So let's go through, make sure everything is well documented. So we've got documentation up there. Close content toggles. Yep, but we're missing, we want to put in this, mess that up, param. So this is a node. The element that toggles the active content area. And here, same thing. I want to add a parameter. It's a node content, the active content area. All right, great. Let's also give a little space to all these. I like being able to very easily scan as I read through stuff. Now, one other thing with event listeners, you don't actually have to kind of pass in this anonymous function like that. You can use a named function, which I think makes everything so much easier. So I'm gonna use a new function called clickhandler. You don't have to do the parentheses. In fact, you shouldn't. You just put in its name, and add event listener will automatically pass in the event function, or the event rather, as an argument. What you do need to do, though, when you set this up, is make sure that you put the event right here as a listed argument. Some browsers like Chrome will automatically detect the event as a global variable, but other browsers like Firefox do not. So if you didn't have event here, then when you did this event target would fire as an error because no event would be found. So you need to make sure you include it as an argument there. So handle click events. There's not really a whole lot to say about this. I'm not even going to specify a type because that's obvious. Same thing here. We're going to do a let's handle focus events. That's focus handler equals function event. Okay. And we can take all this, focus handler, great. Get the content, activate the content, and we got labels on everything. There we go. Reload, make sure everything still works. All right, perfect. And you can see here now, this is just, it's a little bit nicer, neater, easier to read. I've got my methods all in one place. And then down at the bottom, I just got really neat and clean, kind of all the initializations that are going to happen. And I'm similarly going to go through and let's just comment in my CSS a little bit. So, these are the content areas, active and hidden, and these are the content area toggle links. Don't need much here, just a little something so that we know what's going on. And yeah, so that's it. So that's how I typically structure and clean up my code at the end of a project, just to make everything easier to maintain and read later.